Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day from St. Peter's, Bexhill. This really is our final story, although there are lots more in the Bible for you to find. This story is called Paul is Shipwrecked. Are you sitting comfortably? City after city, mile after mile, year after year, Paul travelled far and wide, facing danger every day, just so that people could hear about Jesus. Was Paul worried? Not at all. In every city he visited, he left behind a little church, a group of people who wanted to live like Jesus. And then Paul went to Jerusalem, and that's when he ran into big trouble. You see, the religious leaders didn't like it when Paul said that Jesus was the special one that God had promised. The religious leaders were angry when he said that Jesus really had come back from the dead, and at last the religious leaders arrested him and beat him. Some people even wanted to kill Paul, but in the end he was put in chains and sent to Rome to go on trial before the emperor himself. Was Paul worried? Not at all. He knew that God had said Paul would go to Rome to tell people there about Jesus, and now he was on his way. Paul was put on a ship with other prisoners, and at first the journey went well, but then the wind changed, the ship slowed down, and by the time it reached Crete it was running late. Was Paul worried? Not at all. He knew that it wasn't a good time of year to sail, and that if the ship stayed in Crete, everything would be all right. And that's what he told the men in charge. But they didn't want to wait, so off they sailed across the choppy sea. It didn't take long for Paul's warning to come true. A hurricane blew up, and the boat was blown like a toy across the water. The sailors did everything they could. They dropped the anchor. They threw the cargo overboard. They held the battered boat together with ropes. But the storm went on and on until all the food had run out and it looked like everyone was going to die. Was Paul worried? Not at all. He knew God would keep them safe. Calmly he stood and spoke to the others. I had a visit last night from an angel, he said. He told me that we would get to Rome safely. The ship will be destroyed, run aground on an island, but we will all survive. And that's just what happened. The ship was wrecked off the island of Malta. At first, the soldiers and sailors thought only of themselves, but Paul convinced the men in charge that the angel's promise would only come true if everyone stuck together. So that's what they did, and everyone was saved. The people who lived on the island took care of the castaways, and after 3 months they joined another ship sailing to Rome. In that big city, Paul had to stay in his house until the trial, so while he waited, he told everyone who visited him about Jesus. Was Paul worried about what would happen to him? Not at all. Instead, he was busy writing letters to the churches he'd started all over the world. And in one letter he said, "Don't be worried. Just be thankful and tell God what you need. Jesus will give you the peace of God, and that will help you to face anything."